Welcome to On Reflection from Do Good by Doing Better. I'm your host, Eric Duell. Today, I want to share a story about a single word that sent me into a spiral of self-questioning and how unpacking that feeling led to a powerful realization about the labels we use to define ourselves and the ones we're afraid to claim. It's a personal exploration of why we sometimes feel like we don't belong and, in my case, what I decided to do about it. Based on my Friday morning reflection, number 37. On a recent Saturday afternoon, I popped my laptop open on the kitchen counter for a call with my friend Lena. Lena is many things. She's the co-owner of a neon light studio in New York City, an artist, and an operations partner at a company whose tech platform enables artists to easily co-create, distribute, and monetize their work together. We were deep in conversation about their website, talking about user experiences, the customer journey, and branding, when Lena pointed out that they intentionally use the term creative people instead of artists to describe their audience. But she wondered, might it actually be better to include artist in the company name? I had a strong, immediate reaction to the idea, and it took me a moment to synthesize and get my thoughts and feelings together. After I did, I wondered if branding for artists could be limiting. I confessed I'm a writer and a photographer, but I wouldn't say that I'm an artist. After all, I don't have an art degree. My painting skills, well, they're limited to the interior walls of my home, and to be honest, I don't always get good reviews on those works. So me, an artist? It's something I've thought a lot about, Lena offered, sharing that she was also torn about the interchangeability of the words creator and artist. Our conversation moved on, but my mind wasn't quite ready to let it go. Why did I have such a visceral reaction to the A word? After the call ended, a knot of tension lingered with me for the rest of the day, in my gut and just below the surface of my consciousness. I've learned to get comfortable with that sensation. It's usually my mind telling me it's still churning on some kind of dissonance, even when I'm not actively thinking about it. Then later, ta-da! New ideas will arrive when I'm doing something completely different, out for a walk or in the shower, even making breakfast. And this is something I've written about before, like in my reflection, What to Do When Inspiration is a No-Show. Sure enough, the next morning, as sunlight filtered through the window, I woke to an avalanche of ideas. I fumbled for my phone to record several voice memos in a sleepy, just woke up voice before they could sublimate into the details of the day. One of those voice memos was about how we internalize the sense of what groups we belong to, and in this case, the literal definition of an artist encompasses anyone who creates with conscious skill and creative imagination, a category that includes writing and photography. And I check those boxes, so why the hesitation? It was clear by then that my reaction wasn't really about Lena's ideas at all. It was a projection based on my own discomfort with calling myself an artist. This wasn't the first time I'd faced this. It reminded me of a conversation from about 10 years ago when I was meeting with Stephen, then director of music at the Episcopal Cathedral in Cincinnati, where I'd been in the choir for many years, including as a paid singer. We were wrapping up when my daughter walked into his office and asked a question. Honestly, I don't remember the question, but I clearly do remember his answer, and it just about knocked me over. He said, "Your father is a musician," just as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. And that's all I remember, because at that moment, it felt like the world had stopped spinning. I had a physical reaction to Stephen's words, realizing with a jolt that I had never, ever called myself a musician before. And this was coming from a man I deeply respected who had welcomed me in his professional and highly accomplished music program. And he was right. I was singing multiple times a week in the choir, organizing the music program for a cathedral service in the park, researching and reinterpreting music from the 1600s, and leading an early music vocal ensemble. I was a musician. So thinking about all this, I pulled myself out of bed and dropped Lena a message. I've changed my view that the word artist is a problem, I started, going on to observe that we often limit ourselves with words and that other people do that to us too. Perhaps this was an opportunity to choose a different path. This tendency to put ourselves in boxes has a professional angle too. I've had recruiters confide that it's confusing to hiring managers when they see a LinkedIn profile with many diverse roles and interests. They've said it leads them to question that person's commitment or focus. Frankly, this is a failure to see the person behind the resume, which is supposed to be a core responsibility of a recruiter. It's disheartening to think that people with multifaceted backgrounds, people who bring diverse perspectives and additive experiences might be intentionally passed over because their resume doesn't fit a neat, narrow specialization. It creates this invisible barrier for those of us who are more than one thing, and it can cause us to hesitate to show up fully at work and in life. I'm currently reading a book by Nadia Asparova called Antimemetics: Why Some Ideas Resist Spreading. Early in the book, she asserts that how we think directly influences how we act, and I really believe she's onto something. Words are how we express concepts and abstract thoughts, and they have power. Brands know this. Social movements know this. They adopt and use words to shape identity and signal their values, and we can do the same thing for ourselves. By being mindful of the words we use, not just with others, but in our internal monologue, we can redefine our own boundaries. After reflecting on my conversation with Lena, I realized I am an artist. It was a declaration I needed to make for myself, and now I'm happy to adopt the label. I'm also a writer. I am a musician. I'm a photographer and a media producer, and I'm a business entrepreneur. More than one thing. I wanted to share this story with you, not because I have a list of top 5 hot takes for you, at least not today. What I can offer is this honest look at a moment of my own uncertainty and what I learned from it. That is, in a moment of doubt, I had a realization. I have the power to punch my own card. I can credibly grant myself entry into the Artist Club, and it makes me wonder if you have a membership card too, for a club you don't even realize you're already a member of. And just maybe, it's time to claim it. I'm Eric Duell. Thank you so much for joining me on Reflection. If today's conversation resonated with you, sign up for future episodes at dogoodbydoingbetter.com. And I hope you'll upgrade to a paid subscription to support the creation of episodes like this and my work. And please share this with someone who might be hesitating to claim their own membership as a writer, a musician, or as an artist. Talk with you again soon. And as always, remember to think big, start small, act now, and measure results, all to up your impact one act at a time. A production of Elucidate Media, crafted with love for you in Philadelphia.